Welcome back to the Eric Krown crypto channel, and it's a very special day today as the caretaker. Yes, the caretaker himself, my good friend and a very good friend of this channel as well, who's probably created a lot of indicators that you are familiar with, like the BBWP, like the PMARP, and several others that we use frequently on this channel, has come out with a new indicator that he's been working on for, I think, close to about a year now. Now, I've been kind of in the know of this one for a while and have been in the works of actually using it for a while now too, and have found a lot of value in it. So I wanted to bring it to this channel here because I do think that it could be of value to others out there as well. So essentially, what is it? It is the historical price delta range. What does that even mean? Well, the general idea is that this indicator gives you, the trader, a clear graphical representation with numerical outputs of the range of historical returns relevant to the time frame and look back. So you can use this on any time frame. It will calculate it all the same. Well, with different numbers, obviously. So, you can use this all the way up to whatever time frame your heart's desire, as well as low as too. And you can get probabilities for those specific ranges, which is probably a better way of explaining this indicator. You can essentially use this information to help calculate the probability in relation to historical returns that the price will make a particular percentage price gain or loss and at a particular price within the chosen sample period. So I do want to say at the outset, this is not for beginners. And if you are looking to use this in the way that I use it, it will not be for long-term trend traders. In fact, even if you don't use it in the way that I postulate to use this indicator, I still would kind of have a difficult time, finding a value in that. Doesn't mean that it can't be done. No, but I just haven't figured it out myself, at least. Perhaps you might. But this is really designed, and what I found the best value in, again, is for scalping. And you can apply that to any time frame. Now, personally, I prefer the lower time frames. I found that this is very, 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 very good on the lower term time frames, like the 5 and 15 minute. But yes, the back tested data goes all the way up to a daily, actually, and the results are actually still very much, I would say, acceptable. Now, the time taken for those trades, in my case, no, but again, that's personal preference. Anyways. So yes, this will come with two separate strategies, one for long, one for short. I'll actually even show you the results for the long one in a bit here. But first, I should probably show you what the actual indicator itself looks like, so you have an idea of what you're getting yourself into. And so let's bring you over to this page here. And this is the indicator in all of its full glory. The big thing that you're looking for is, of course, right here on the right-hand side. That is the full-on info box giving us a probability range for historical returns. So I'm currently on a 4-hour time frame. And for example, if you're looking for the current 4-hour range with a 99.5% probability, essentially, then we would be looking at, well, a humongous range to be fair, but it'd have a very high probability. So technically speaking, theoretically speaking, we'd probably be looking for at least tradable scalps off those peripheries on the range. Now, the lower that we go, the lower probability that we go, the tighter that these ranges will naturally get. So you can kind of think of this as a more long-term or higher-term time frame. Range highs and range lows on the upper end here versus the more short-term relevant range highs and range lows. Let's say if we go into the 50% region here, again, a lot lower of a probability, more of a coin flip than anything else, but ultimately it gives us an insight as to what to expect for the ranges. And again, this works for any time frame that TradingView can calculate. Basically, we can go all the way here to a 5-minute. Well, let me actually just make the price actually make a little bit more sense. Obviously, the indicator is going to take some time to populate its own data, as naturally it's going through a ton of calculations here. But once it actually populates, there we go. We can see on the 5-minute time frame, the 95% range, the 95% probability range would give us a range between 17,169 all the way down to 16,724. So again, gives us some scalpable areas, and that obviously correlates to the color in the background here. The lowest probability going to be a lot tighter. Obviously, that it is a 5-minute time frame. It's going to be like 30, 40 bucks wide. Anyways, I did want to briefly go over some of the results that I've calculated for a completely different strategy than what I've spoken about right here. I mean, that wasn't really a strategy at all. It's just information about the indicator, and show you what essentially I do. So One of the strategies that I've worked out is a long strategy. Works on basically any time frame that I've back tested, or it's more like the results are acceptable, I would say. You can obviously decide that for yourself. I will show you them as well, assuming that time doesn't get too far away from me here. But basically, it is a combination of actually all caretakers indicators. Now, of course, he has more, but these three I find an immense amount of value in. So we have the HPDR in the back line here. We have the BBWP and we have the PMARP. Now, I go through a much more in-depth example of this in another video on YouTube. Feel free to check it out there. I won't go through the full depth of it here, but basically what I'm looking for is I'm looking for closures below the bottom side of the blue zone. So this first blue zone right here, any sort of a closure below that region alongside the moving average on the BBWP decreasing from prior closure to current closure, that is an entry, and then I use the PMARP to take profit. So in this particular strategy, well, we already went over the entry conditions. The exit conditions for profit taking would be wait for PMARP to get above 75 percentile. So I marked it off right there. So let's just go find a random example. Again, I go through a much more in-depth explanation on a different video. This is a 5-minute time frame. You get entries all the time, but here would be an example right here, right? Where we get a closure below the blue zone. Let's cross check that against the BBWP moving average. And obviously right here, it is decreasing. That white line is decreasing. Okay, so that is an entry. Alrighty, so it would technically be right here on the first closure below. Okay, risk management is defined by this indicator right here. So it'll be this. This is also, by the way, free. If you want to steal this strategy, go ahead. It'd be right here, any sort of a closure below and out. And then we wait for PMARP to get back above 75 and take profit, whichever one happens first, either a win or a loss, always. So in this case, we enter here, 16,929. We exit here, 16,959. Okay, it's not anything like a crazy trade. We're talking about extremely low volatility periods, within Bitcoin's history, in a very short-term time frame as well. But still, a nice high quality gain right there, which does stack up over time. So I've done that particular strategy with slightly different numbers for different time frames, basically all across the board here. I'll just quickly run you through the results. Here's a 5-minute time frame. Win rate out of 50 was 74%. The big information that I'm looking for over here, these are the win percentages or loss percentages, so the returns in a percentage format. So on the win side, 45, on the loss side, 63. First standard deviation calculation, min, max, you get the idea. So that'll be the 5-minute. Let's go to the 15-minute. Same win rate actually, which shows that the data is actually rather consistent, which is what we're looking for, obviously. Again, win return percentage, loss return percentage, again, very close right there. First standard deviation, min, max, you get the idea. Let's go through the 30-minute, same thing. Oh, and what do you know? The same win rate again, 74% actually. Out of 50 trades, were winners. Again, here is the data for the returns. Just slowly moves up over time as we go up in time frame, as you would expect. Same thing over here with the hourly. What do you know? What's the win rate? It's 36 wins instead of 37, so this was a 72% win rate. Again, very, very close here. I imagine if I did, another few more, probably would have averaged out a little bit closer to the others. Anyways, in terms of returns, 220 versus 242, first standard deviation, min, max, you get the idea. And I also record the time win and time loss on average, but I don't want to go through the full details here because it's just going to be too long a video. 4-hour time frame. Again, this one actually a little bit on the higher side, which I thought was interesting. Trades take a long time, like a day and a half, basically, closer to 2 days maybe. Returns, 376 versus 412. First standard deviation, min, max. Again, you get the idea. I went even all the way up to a daily here, which surprisingly enough, the daily was pretty damn good. Again, 74% was very, very good right there. And then of course, when we go to the returns, this one actually had the same for the wins and the losses, which is interesting. And then again, first standard deviation and min and max, some pretty huge numbers there because the further back that you go, which we were getting like very far back here to get 50, the more and more those numbers got crazier. So, anyways. That is what to expect basically with this. Other than that, I think that is probably a good place for me to be leaving it off. Again, the big sort of value in this one is just having a statistically based probabilistic calculator in your back end that essentially shows you where where those ranges are and what to essentially expect with them in relation to historical returns. And then of course you get two strategies like I showed right here. One of them is long, one of them is short. I go on the short side, I don't go all the way up to a daily, I go up to a 12-hour. The reason why is because the daily just wasn't getting entries, and it also just didn't seem like it was performing that well. So I didn't think that that was acceptable, so I did not include it. But here would be the long one. Then we got the short one over here, or I guess it's on my other page. But ultimately, if that, I think that is it, actually. I think that is indeed it. So I'll leave that one right there. Again, if you're not looking to use it in the way that I'm postulating here, that's completely fine. There's many other ways to be doing it as well, which you are free to explore yourself. So I'll be signing off with that. I want to wish you well again. I want to once again say that this indicator is not for beginners. If you are not already successful, this is not going to be like a magical pill or anything like that. Nothing to my knowledge is. Just pure experience and having some sort of a workable template basically is the way to do that. So ultimately, if you are newer, I would say, hey, not a good idea here, but this is a nice tool that I've had in my own arsenal for a while now, thanks to Caretaker, and I think it's time to make it available as well. So with that said, take care, much love, and I'll see you in the next one.